My name is Reverend Maria Arvanitidis, and this video will describe some of the many uses that the star tetrahedron can help us with energetically to empower us and give us that extra boost when we need it, or if we're too much in the proactive to kind of balance anything that's over polarized, whether it be the receptive. Sometimes we might have too much progesterone and not enough testosterone. Sometimes we might be feeling lethargic, and too much energy can also create an off balance that we might be not receiving properly, and sometimes the way that we might be taking in too much information will knock us out. Too many thoughts. We might want to clear away certain traumas, sometimes to do with our homosexuality, in the sense of our gender that might be kind of changing, due to the sometimes when we're growing up we might have these kind of traumas, and we have a stationary pyramid tetrahedron, and we also have one that spins to the right and another one that spins to the left, and they occupy the same space. And one of the exercises that we can do is, whenever we feel that sometimes our gender might be bumped off because of our pyramids. And I will explain that how the feminine pyramid, the inverse pyramid is, and how the masculine is, and then how they come together, meaning the electrical is masculine and the feminine is magnetic. So we can perhaps stop referring to masculine and feminine unless we're dealing with gender that we might want to, because in reference to this, some of us might at a very young age, or it might have not have been of our choice, and there might be some trauma from abuse, childhood abuse. And it is not just a sexual preference, but really sort of a gender change because of this traumatic experience, perhaps, and through your upbringing or our upbringing, things, from as far as, you can even say child molestations and all these other things, the programs, the way society might be imposing their ways of how they see us and how they raise us and how we experience ourself within our body as we're growing up to the stage of, let's say, 7 years old. We're taking all this in, and the influencers, and how it can be really abusive. It doesn't have to be a sexual abuse, but it can be very one-sided, from the you know, the collective, and how they choose to treat you and expect you to be in certain ways that can be over polarizing, and anything that is off balance and can be reinterpreted on many levels as abuse, okay? So it doesn't have to be that way. Um, like sexual traumatic abuse, it can be other levels of abuse, and all the little factors that play into it that create and form who we are. And one of them is gender. We don't uh, always get to choose this thing. This is why we have so many, you know, transgender sexualities, and you know, there's so many variations of it, and some of it, when we get to the very simple, basic root, is because our pyramids are bumped, and when they get bumped, it changes our hormonal, and it changes our gender, and it has a lot to do with these things, how when we spin them we create a pulse. And so this is a little bit way too out there, and it might get a little bit way too complicated, and so I rather not get into this right now, when it, you know, the overlapping into receptivity and all these other things. So I'm just going to put that away because I really so let's work with what we have, because that can get really really refined, and as we work it, we'll understand that it can even help certain uh, mental, on the mental level, with certain chemicals within us, because everything is biologically created and then synthetically also made, that we take to help with this balance. So what is illness is either not enough of something or too much of something, and it's always like this, okay? And this is what is called healing, and also working with energy, and from what angle we want to look at it. uh, when we play around with energy, because this is what it is, it's all energy, and it doesn't have to be limiting and earned and all these things. We can learn to practice to heal, and sometimes our mental body, sometimes our emotional body, like we have many bodies, and some of them, you know, we might be feeling like bipolar, and sometimes it might play effect into our hormones. It also will play an effect from pheromones to hormones to all these chemicals, and a lot of the times the endocrine system, because we have 12 systems when we're dealing with anatomy, physiology, and we have 12 systems of everything. And then even when it comes to the Kabbalistic tree, the Kabbalah tree, even that is 13. So every time you get like 13 or 12, 13, and then it can go further up, and then you can keep splitting them. But for now, we're dealing with the 7 bodies and the chakras. And yes, I do have a book out that might even go as far up as 10. And then you're dealing with the genetic code. And I haven't really been showing you all my slides because I like to talk a lot, and I also want to take it to a very basic meditation. This can go in many directions. The star tetrahedron. Also, I wanted to show you what the tube torus looks like, and maybe I can add it in here too. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Oh, let's do this. Oh, will it? Yes. All right. So I think I've added it now. I've got all these various screens working on here. And in the background, I have some instrumental music to help me with my throat chakra. And that's what you might be hearing. And now this, if I cover it up, oh, come on. I thought if I covered it up, it might show. Oh, there it is. This is what is in reference to, I think I was referring to the previous video from Love's Creation Unlimited, my YouTube channel. And I was referring to this symbol here. It's not only a symbol, but it is a cross, okay? And it does show how the tube torus, and it's spherical. So you can reinterpret the pyramid also. The equilateral pyramids can also be, mind, body, spirit. It can also be light, soul, and spirit if they want to. If you want, depending on what you want to do with it and what it is you're trying to convince yourself and what intention and how you're going to use the exercise and the tool to implement. What am I doing with my hands? Okay, I'm okay. So I was saying, sometimes people might use this tool, the pyramid, and say one is receptive, okay, and one is, but they also might say, okay, the receptive is the soul, and the electrical is the spirit, and then they come together and they bring a light body, but then the light also creates the physical, and also we're dealing with frequency, which is light and sound creates, it's the logos, it's the word. So we can go to it in many ways. Some people have it that way, and other people will have the soul up there, and they have the spirit and the light mind, however, like I just said it previously. And other people, like, how is it from the Egyptian? It is, well, as a Wiccan too, I could say that I've been through for many years, and I've adapted to learning many things by kind of being it and experiencing it firsthand. You got to believe that you are to be it, and then you experience it. It's like going to a country and on holidays, on vacation, and for instance, Cuba, example. And you can either go and experience life with the civilians, or experience life on the not reservations. That's an Indian thing term, but where the holidays are and people are, it's created as a holiday spot, but you don't mix. So in the same sense, is this what I'm describing here? That as a Wiccan, when I said that, I experienced about a decade of my life as one, perhaps even more, and then I came out of it. But then I also experienced many other as well, and I go in and out. Sometimes it's Hinduism, and then, well, from the Egyptian, meaning Ka, Aka. When I was saying it in my book, the word, that's a mantra. It's a chant, it's a sound, to meaning what, the wings that create the spirit. But then again, when you're looking at this is a cross. So these symbols are very important, and why they've lasted throughout so many generations. And see the inside, what that is, the force. This is us. And so we can use it for many things in how we interpret the meaning of Merkaba. Okay? And so let's change this, and we can go to another one that I have here. Oh, this way. Gotta keep moving around here. Again, this is the human Merkabah, okay? And the human Merkabah is equilateral, okay? And they're equilateral pyramids. So the mirror means body. It could be body of light. It could be the physical body as well. So Ka means spirit, Ba means soul, and this is what I was referring to as the orientation of genders. So what you see here is the right side up pyramid, and the point of it on the electrical, the point part, oh dear, the point part, so that, you know, like the interlock, there's another video on this. And many others have done videos on this. So that's, and it's not showing properly. So this is the electrical component, which is the point of the pyramid facing one way. So maybe I have another one here. How about this one? This is the feminine. And how can you tell? Because the inverse of this inverted pyramid, and this is also a human Merkabah, and it goes like this. The point meaning the line. How do I show this? This right here. Oh, this right here. Okay, that's supposed to be the magnetic one. This is a magnetic, the bottom pyramid. Now, if for some reason something happens to you through the outside influences that might be overbearing, it could cause it to get knocked and turned into the flat side. And this is how genders can also change. And you can just imagine how much it would take to actually turn that. And this is the stationary one. This never moves. It will move, and it can move when you do certain exercises. And when you do enough practice of these exercises, you can, in subtle ways, notice the changes. And then eventually, you can notice, depending on what level you're at, what ascended level you are at. The ideal is androgyny, so you will notice it. So if you're a pristine human, so let's see, there's various levels to our humanity, and so there's the 7 bodies. Okay, this is the human here. Okay, and this is the higher mental vehicle, and then there's the higher self, and then there's the God consciousness, which is Buddha body, and this is the first level of resurrection. And then the atmic body, which is the atom. Okay, so you know, we become light body beings. Okay, so what that is the second form of resurrection. And then, you know, you become a solar, an angelic being, which is very androgynous. It doesn't have one gender or the other, because when you get into those levels, you no longer need those physical parts. On a light body being, okay? Energy, we're all made of energy. And this physical containment is the symptom of of what the energy has created, okay, through the genetic codes, obviously. And so, yes, when you get the spirit and the soul, but because I was saying a five-pointed star, it shows the spirit going up, and then some have inverted stars with the spirit going down in any direction. This is again to do with the two Taurus, and it could say the body of light, and you could also say that top is the Mer, and then the Ka, and then the Ba. Okay, either way you look at it, it's up to you and your imagination and how well you can grasp to ground and use it and utilize it. So we have the logos, solar logos, and then the monadic field. Again, what is this describing? It's describing the spiritual consciousness within the soul, which is a plasmic field. So when you get into certain levels of awareness and mastery, you understand that what these things really are. And so we go into this. Okay. And then when we go into this, we see that perhaps I could do a slideshow because we see that Maria has to move. And you see, this is a Sophic sacred Merkaba. And this here is the Buddha level and the pristine human of evolution that we use. And this is what really does all those things that I was talking about with the hormones and the pheromones. But here we have the human Merkaba. And we can do it in many, we can even have it like down to our feet, depending on what level we have it and how we have it. Will be whether it's from the heart, the more enlightened one, which is the Sophic sacred one for enlightened beings to use, or the lower, more human one that everybody's using, or the other one that you can, when you do that, you can make into vehicles as well. So there's many of them that you can actually utilize as tools when it comes to the Merkaba, the star tetrahedron. And so when you're dealing with the feminine, and this is the Leonardo da Vinci, and he described it perfectly when it comes to, okay, this is let's say exactly what I was talking about. You can have it exactly like the Da Vinci one, where the base of the pyramid, this is the feminine one, it goes all the way up to the head and all the way the point down to the feet. Now, when you utilize this one and you actually have it spinning the right way, which would be receptive, which would be in a clockwise direction, you end up, and this was a GIF one. I mean, like, you end up with the, no, wait, man. You end up with the, this here. Okay? So what it is, it's the cone and it goes all the way down and it matches right here. And you're creating a platform. So this is one. And when you do that, just like they say, the secret to the law of attraction, you're only working with one, and this is only the magnetic, and you're dealing with a platform. And what you're dealing with is the Earth Star chakra, not the electrical, the component of the thinking mind, and the sun star chakra, which is the lahud, which is above. It's where exactly where the 10th chakra is, and it encapsulates it. So how you would have it is with the Sophic pyramid, the elongated one, you can actually 14 inches or 13 inches above your head, it would be you on your tippy toes, and also meeting up with your index, your middle finger all the way up, as kind of to show, get a better feeling of it where it would be. And so this only creates one, and this would be again 13 inches or 14 inches below the feet. And you can do certain breathing also to get that cord from your tailbone to go all the way down and roll all the way and stretch out, because it's been coiled and bunched up, like, in the human. But once in the actual, just the human, the regular first level human that we all are. But with a certain amount of breathing and practice and exercise, you can actually get the coil to go down and stretch. And then you can actually, this coil is the Ida and Pingala. So there's many things, and this is that you can actually, blend in other tools and things and do things with. This is fascinating, and this is why I showed this to Taurus, where the symbol of the cross came to be. And so now that we're dealing with the Merkaba, so when we're sitting down, and this is the Human Merkabah, meaning the first level, this is what we're dealing with the chakras, and this is the feminine. This is the receptive. Well, the feminine one is this one here, but for females, for the gender, to change a person's gender, you can actually do this on higher levels, which we're all heading, pristine humans, from an androgynous level, to be a balanced, all-around, well, healthy being. And so you kind of notice it either in the mental body or emotional body or physical body, and it has to be first. It's like in the mental, also in the emotional, and then the mental, and then it comes out in physical manifestations. It's not just going to the doctor and getting surgery or taking hormones and taking all these other things. You can actually do this as you are right now, practicing. And so the gender, let's say a male, can actually become this, and the let me see now, and the mass and the feminine can become this. So what you're going to end up with is if the masculine wants to become a feminine, then they end up with softer muscles, everything softens up, or things become more tense, more empowered, you become more energized, boosted. So this is some of the first subtle signs you might notice, the symptoms, and how you would want to bring back the balance. If you're manic or you're depressant or you're like bipolar, those are the mental body signals. Then there's the emotional, and then there's the physical manifestations of certain illnesses or other things that happen. And yes, it's been given to us from the outside, the synthetic versions of these cures that we can actually biologically create from a chemical compound or chemical excretions from within. So, for instance, the pheromones, like I was describing, trigger the hormones, and for some people, you know, they have under the arms and in between the growing, or for the higher, more pristine Buddha, or whatever level you want to look at it. Okay, like for me, for instance, I do most of my sweating from the thyroid. The thymus, not the thyroid is up here. From the thymus gland, the higher heart. So when I'm sweating, it comes out from that area. Mostly I get it from there. And certain changes that you will notice what level you're really at. And you do this by leveraging how you feel. This is the first things. So this is like a lot of study into this. And as you notice here, the many levels. Oh God, the many levels. So I guess I'm gonna have to duck down. And so as you can see, this is a Sophic triangle representing the 9 phases of human evolution. Again, this here is the masculine, if you would want to say, the one that we are in this physical reality that we would interpret, and the feminine being the the soul world, if you would want to say that. The more the magnetic, or however you want to say it, left or right. So what you get here is you get the identity consciousness, the initiate. So you get the level of human. The level of human is with identity. I am this. I am that. And the relevance of who you are by name. And then we go into the God consciousness, where you're feeling you've mastered all of this, and now you've entered into the dark night of the soul. And you know, you can go up and down depending on what reality, like there's many chakras to deal with. And so once you've dealt with all the realities, you tend to kind of ascend and then go back down once you entered into a different reality, which is a chakra. And so from here, we get the emptiness and then the feeling of bliss. And then the re-entering into human condition as ascended mastery, which is phase 3, the immortal master, because now we have enlightened ourselves into a light body being presence within our physical containment. So we have the spirit and the soul. Some people, okay, the soul comes in, because when we go and let's say we leave this physical body into the metaphysical, what really happens, that how we interpret it scientific, well, what happens is the soul leaves, and then you start to notice it energetically, how the spirit, and you start aging and you look older and you look wrinkled and all these things. That's the spirit going, the consciousness leaving. Okay, so you can interpret it any way you want, but the soul is this plasmic field that contains this is just a sliver of it, because you get an over soul as well from many lineages. You can also be found from within on a genetic level. This is why we have to do clearing, because it's so much easier to take that pill, that lithium tablet, or what have you, the testosterone injection or whatever, than it is to go through a clearing process, because it's a lot of inner work. Okay, and yes, you could just kind of start now and see what you get. Sometimes shit will hit the fan and it will be all over the place. And you're going to have to deal with all those little aspects of yourself in the identity consciousness. This whole area has to be cleared out first to enter into God consciousness. Which, I mean, you can do it from the external on a synthetic level, and that will help. And like I was saying, there's 2 levels to the 4D, but then eventually it will keep you trapped within the lower realities, or you have to just let go and allow yourself to enter into the 5th dimensional playing field as a being. And so these are the splitting of the worlds that we were talking about. And the Merkaba, so here we are, we're saying we're dealing with one cone, or let's say once we add the point to it, is what turns it into a masculine or a feminine, or we just have cones that don't have that enhancement, that identifying that it has to be one gender or the other. And that is mostly with the stationary that never moves, but it can. You can get it to move, and you can actually get it to go into one gender or the other if you're off of one or in. So hormonically, it starts from there first with your hormones, and then the physical changes. And so this is what you get, like similar to an octahedron, but then you have to have an integration. And it does happen through the heart. And then the 2 worlds collapse, one from the yogi belly sacral area and the other one from the heart, and the 2 worlds, like the lower chakras and higher chakras. And you end up in this is what creates, and the space in between that they interlap, and they have that space in between, so it leaves that the soul in there, that you can actually take a sphere from the sacral area, from the belly button, and with it create a sphere and breathe that into creating. So you have a white light, a sphere, because this tetrahedron, okay, star tetrahedron, it creates a sphere. And you can do much with that sphere of light. And that's the sphere, the round sphere, is the human sphere. But if you want it to go into an oval, an egg-like shape, then you have to do it with a sacred Sophic pyramids, tetrahedrons, the star. And the equilateral gets you the sphere. So what really, okay, enough of this, introduction. So what are we actually getting here? Where are we going with this? Well, one, we can create a field of hope. That is right there. The field of hope, as you can see here. Or we can create this angelic beingness. And what this angelic beingness is, the solar angel, which you see on here. Or we can use it as a spacecraft and enter into other realities. And if you noticed here, this one is a Sophic, elongated points. star tetrahedron, because that's the only way you can create a space vehicle. And you see how it can enter from one reality to another, and it can even have you can even become invisible, a cloak of invisibility, as they say the aliens use and with their spacecrafts. But you can actually do it with your body, going at the faster than the speed of light. And you practice long enough, and you can actually do that. You can actually bring certain entities to you, or go to those places, and actually live those realities as well with your physical body. You're not going anywhere. You're actually bringing that world to you in your morphogenic field. So you're actually experiencing that quantum leap into shifting into another parallel reality. You're not actually physically transporting your body. You're actually getting that physical reality to come and experiencing it in your field, your unified field. So this is how it works. And what I'd like to do now is get into a meditation with this human equilateral Merkaba star tetrahedron. And just visualize the very basic pyramid and how they merge and become one. So focus on each pyramid first. And you can be standing or sitting, and you can switch it up to masculine if you'd like. And this is the stationary star tetrahedron that we are going to be working with, just one. So either one, just focus. If you're this is a gender thing, okay? This actually, the only way it might be different would be with some of us who are transgendered, and there are many transgender. It's not a homosexual mostly. It's also to do with your gender, how you feel. You might feel feminine. You might actually feel like, and you're to the extreme where you're actually going through the hormone therapy and even perhaps surgical procedures to get you into that. That's what level we're talking about, so that you can adjust to the actual electrical field. Because this is an electrical, we're all made of energy. So your energetic body and your energetic star tetrahedron might be this way, and you're actually a female, but your energetic body does not feel that way. It feels like you're a female trapped in a man's body, or a man trapped in a woman trapped in a man's body, or a man trapped in a woman's body. This is what I'm talking about. And this is how you can actually work to modify and bring it back and bring back your balance so that you can feel at home within this physical containment and get it to the way you want it to appear and also disappear, like a cloak of invisibility, or through a great deal of practice we can accentuate and bring out certain hormones and certain chemicals within our bodies that will help to bring that balance of deficiencies, or over something, overlapping, over too much, over polarizing into one over the other. And that can be as simple as too many thoughts in your head and you need a clearing. So you use the magnetic. And there's other exercises too that people have taken, I think, from the yogic perspective. So let's do this then. Let's do a kind of yogic meditation, a yogic type of breathing, but you can see where you're at, what level you're at through your breathing, and how it is when you breathe in. Are you tensing your lower belly up to your thorax, to below your breasts area? Or when you're breathing, are you ballooning it up, like just releasing and blowing that air in? And then when you breathe out, you tense. So you'll know what level you're at by how you're doing it. So when you're breathing in, release. So when you're breathing in that air, just feel it like a balloon expanding right to your belly, and your belly expanding. And when you breathe out, tense all the way up to your thorax. Just feel it going up your spine and out your mouth. So at one time I thought, I can't do this. When I first started, it was the other way around. I would breathe in, but when I was breathing in, I was tightening from the belly, from the growing area, all the way up. And then when I was releasing it, I was releasing my, like you would when you're breathing in. So this is where it takes some practice. And when you can do that, through a great deal of discipline, you can also, when you tense things, you exercise the muscles. And when you exercise the muscles, it's like doing sit-ups. So you can either tense when you're breathing in, and then release. That's how we all first start out. Or you can breathe in from your nose and breathe everything like just blowing a balloon from the chest down. Just feel your belly with that air expanding every time you breathe in. And every time you breathe out, feel it tense and come out. That's a very simple yogic meditation, a breathing meditation. Now, you can do the same concept once you get used to how comfortable you feel. Because you see, when you're blowing out, if you want to move something, you have to blow out by tensing everything and blowing out. Because if you're blowing out and releasing, you're just bringing everything in. So you can tell what, if you want to receive or if you want to blow something into your reality, or actually get those pyramids, the stationary one, into motion, because this is what's going to make significant changes. And so just with this one, because once we get the first level going, then we can add the other ones, because see, this creates the flower of life, I guess you call it. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they call it the flower of life. Is it the flower of life? Female Merkabah, base of the sun tetrahedron. And so the lower one is the earth star chakra. And the higher up, where you see the last, like it's supposed to be, supposedly the crown chakra, that's your sun tetrahedron, okay? I mean, that's your sun point, your sun pyramid. The point of that pyramid is supposed to be the sun, the sun star, the earth star. So it's below your feet is the earth star, and above your head to where the 10th chakra is your sun star. But that's only for enlightened beings. For the actual everyday human, it creates this flower of, I don't know, you call it life, and it's all the 6, including the 7th, which is in here, they call it, but in actual fact, the soul chakra, yes, it is. It goes, this is what it's trying to say. This is the soul. Yes. But we also have the 8th chakra. This is trying to get, which is in between the throat chakra and the heart chakra. And that is also considered as the higher heart. And once you get that starting, then you notice what level from, there's so many signs that your body gives, your physical, this one here that gives off through sweat glands, through your, how you're feeling, through your emotional body, your mental body, like I was saying. So you can say that's a Merkaba too, because it's, mind, body, soul, they call it. So what you're getting from those bodies, but there's also a fourth too. And the other realities of light, they can't be seen. So we only work with the 4 that can be seen, because they're within the dark light, or if you want to call it, into the blue. And so that was a really good meditation. And we can continue on with that, with this sitting down. And as we do, this is the female one. This is the female Merkaba. And we can start to see it slowly spin. So we're getting the stationary Merkaba to start spinning. And how we're going to do that? Well, we're going to get the one spinning, the lower one that is spinning. It's going to be spinning to the left. Oh, to the right, sorry. So I'm not going to be looking at this, because this is going to be messing me up. So I'm going to go to this one. This should be better. So let's look at this. And let's have our eyes closed. And as we breathe in, well, Where are you breathing in from? Are you breathing in from your heart? Or are you breathing in from your belly? Just notice, where are you breathing from? From your nose? And as you're breathing, are you breathing through your heart? Or are you breathing through your belly? So when you breathe in, and as you're breathing in, let that air expand your belly. That's how you know you're breathing in through the heart. And when you're breathing out, tense. And as you're tensing and breathing out, notice how the lower pyramid, each time you breathe out, it starts to move in a clockwise to the left. And breathe again. Fill your belly up. And then breathe right out, causing the movement of your stationary lower pyramid, the inverted one, to be spinning to the left. So now as you're getting this pyramid spinning to the left, with every breath out, now with one breath out, notice how the upper pyramid is moving to the right in a counterclockwise direction. And you can, in the same way as you breathe in, notice how it's moving clockwise, the lower one when you're breathing in. And notice it moving every time you breathe in into a clockwise to the right direction. And when you're breathing out, the upper pyramid goes in the counterclockwise direction to the right, to the left. Breathe in to the right, breathe out to the left. Breathe in to the right, breathe out to the left. Breathe in to the right, breathe out to the left. And as you're breathing in, fill your belly. And as you're breathing out, that's how you activate the upper and lower. But once you start breathing in, now the lower pyramid, and you will feel it, how you're tensing when you do that, and then releasing, and tensing, and releasing. And this creates a pulse. And at the same time as you're breathing in and breathing out, do it in circular motions, so where there's no gap in between. In, out, and into the right, and out to the left, and into the right, and out to the left, and into the right, and out to the left. And now you have a spinning Merkaba. And now that light, see it increase from the inside as it opens up. You're now unscrewed and releasing the light, that ball from within, to expand outward. And as it's expanding, it's this motion from in to the right and out to the left is creating a spin that's expanding into a sphere, a ball of white light. Into the right, out to the left, into the right, out to the left. And it's about 2 meters across and 2 meters, or from the top of your head, the crown, to the soles of your feet, as some people are varied in height. And so it's from your physical body that it stretches out, similar to social distancing. How your arms go out creates that distance. That is your aura. See it, how it nicely lights up into a sphere, into a ball of light you have created now by breathing into the right and out to the left, into the right and out to the left. This can continuously be moving. And now you have become illuminated as a human being. Your stationary Merkaba is now mobile, it's animated, it's activated, and you're well on your way to the next level. And I hope that you can join me in the next segment. This is a process. And once you get practicing and learn to train, you will achieve many great things to empower yourself and others with. Thank you so very much.